Tommy,
Yes.
what was your first memory of the Comedy Cellar?
My first memory of the Comedy Cellar was in the year of our Lord 1996, and it was a Wednesday during the springtime, but it was still dark, so it was probably February. Dark about 8 or half 8. And I travelled up. I was doing a show there the following week, but I travelled up that week to get ready. I wasn't doing anything else. And a man called Joe Rooney was on the stage from County Meath, and I said to him, I was talking to a man called Dermot Carmody, and he said I could do it next week. But Joe Rooney from County Meath, could I do it this week? And he said, yeah. And that's how I started. I remember I was kind of slagged a little bit actually when I started first because I'd come from acting. So I didn't have this kind of genial conversational approach to stand-up. I just kind of stood right against the backdrop and shouted my stuff. A habit I've found difficult to overcome as the years have passed.
You even shouted in the cellar. And where into your, like how many years into it had you been doing it before you did the cellar gig?
Oh, not long. Maybe 8 months, 9 months, maybe.
All right, so
If
it's
that
one
long
of
at
your
all.
first gigs.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And how did you find the cellar as a venue?
I can't remember really. I remember being excited by it and embarrassed by it, humiliated by it. And there's great camaraderie there as well. I think it's a very democratic space, you know. And I always get the feeling that when you're in the cellar, there's very little. I feel as if almost who you are doesn't matter. You have to win the audience over. So it's almost like the audience are in control, not you. Which is great if your material is well prepared. But if you're trying out new stuff, it's a killer.
And how many times did you play subsequently?
I would have played it a lot over, say, between 96 and 2002. And any time now that I'm kind of in the motions of getting a show together, I'd head up. And there are more clubs than that now in Dublin, but it's I'd always head back there. I'm drinking there. I remember drinking there. It was a great place for pints, and, you know, women you'd lose would know where to find you.
They tracked you down, did they?
Yeah. So it was the great place of reckoning for drinkers and their lovers. Because, you know, you might leave the house in a huff 8:15, and of course she's no idea where you are. But half one...
Leave the house in a huff and go away.
Yeah.
And head up to Dublin. That's a big huff.
I can get awful thick. And then, but yeah, I remember great drinking nights there, you know.
Did you feel it was a safe place to try out stuff? Did you feel like it was a place you could take a chance?
No, I didn't. For me, it's a tightrope joint. I think the audience are very much. It depends on the size of the crowd now. So when it's wedged, I suppose there's a little bit more of. You can surf it a bit more on less of a board. But when it's emptier, it's a bit more difficult. It's one of the great spaces in the world for stand-up, and it's not been able to explain why is one of its strengths.
Do you think there's room for a small room above a pub in this sort of big comedy industry that exists today, with people playing the Apollo and huge stadiums? Does it have a role, a room like that?
Again, if it's not something that you can predict, it exists. Its heart beats, so there must be a reason for its existence. Again, that's one that's slightly beyond everybody's reckoning. Maybe on lots of levels it doesn't make sense, and maybe if a sociologist could show you why he thinks it works, but you know, you'd be bored listening to him. So, you know.
So you're basically saying it's like a joke. Don't try and work out why it works. Just it does.
It's still there, isn't it? It's 7 nights a week now, I think, and a lot of afternoons. So it's still going. So there's a reason for that, and I hope we never find out what it is.